if you can't tell, I'm pretty smitten
Yeah.
with it. It's
Yeah.
it was a revelation to get behind the wheel of it.
I'm here with Dan and his beautiful brand new vivid red Lotus Emira.
This car would be good in brown. I mean,
I'm not sure I'm with you there, Dan. The V6 manual, the manual was important.
Yes.
Okay, so even when you were
Yes.
looking at the Porsches, you were only looking at stuff where you could get a manual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's advantages certainly to, you know, to automatic, but just again, I wanted something that was literally like an old school kind of sports car feel.
Right.
They're not going to be doing this much more, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so this is like, I see it as kind of the end of an era in a way, and I think they really captured that well.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Make sure to check out all 3 videos in this 3-part interview series. I can't believe I was able to secure this interview. This is one of the very first Lotus Emiras delivered in the United States.
Yeah, I think you get kind of the pinnacle of technological advancement
Yeah.
with still the manual and some of the analog stuff before it all changes.
Yeah.
Right?
I've heard differing reports on the shifter. To me, it's awesome. I just love the feel of it, and you know, yeah, it's notchy, and you know, sometimes it's the shifter, sometimes it's me, you know. But you know, I'm still getting back into that. It's been a long time since I drove a manual with any regularity, so I had a really fun experience of stalling it, you know, like right in front of a whole bunch of people. That was great. But.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so the other feature besides cruise control that I'll really appreciate is it has the hill assist, right?
Yeah, it's got
because around here, and I mean, talk about being nervous. You know, you're in a fiberglass body car on a like 30-degree hill, and someone pulls up right behind you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to that. Are you planning any modifications, or do you like keeping things stock, or?
Yeah, I like to keep it pretty stock, honestly. Yeah, I think I'm going to just keep it as it was made.
Okay, yeah. It's interesting how folks vary in that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's another guy locally, Kevin, who, I mean, he's already, you know, he just got his car like 3 weekends in a row doing, you know, exhaust changes and all kinds of other mods. And
I'm fascinated, and I admire people who have the fortitude to start taking your car apart like as soon as you get it. You know, I remember I had a Jeep Wrangler, and how weird it felt to be taking the doors off of a brand new car. And it was just this bizarre feeling of I'm actually taking this thing apart when I just bought it. So I can't. But again, I have admiration for people who really know what they want to do and know, you know, what kind of modification. You know, again, it's about making the car your own and doing what you like. And for me, I'm happy the way they built it.
Is there anything that surprised you so far?
Maybe just back to the drivability of it. It's really easy to drive. I mean, I bring it to the grocery store and stuff. It's like it's that sort of able to be used for regular just driving around. So that was surprising to me that it would be so. Now this is the tour suspension and everything, so it's kind of designed for that. But yeah, it's definitely very usable.
Anything you've been unhappy with so far?
No.
Okay.
It's just a joy every time. I mean, I'm still on clearly the honeymoon phase here, right? You know, I'm to the point of, hey, do we need milk? Do you need me to run and pick anything up?
Right, nice.
I think, you know, so yeah, it's literally, I just can't drive it enough.
You mentioned you got the touring suspension. Was that a hard decision for you?
No, not really. Just again, because of I wanted to be able to use it in very varied ways, and you know, kind of touring and sporty driving. It's a great combination. I mean, it handles beautifully.
Right.
And so yeah, that was an easy, easy one to get the versatility.
Yeah. So I anguish over that.
Yep.
In the end, I got the sport suspension.
Yep.
Because my wife doesn't like driving these cars anyhow.
Okay.
I was like, if I get the touring suspension, maybe she'll be more comfortable.
Yeah.
She's been in my Lotus one time.
Yeah.
She's been in the Alfa Romeo a half dozen times.
Yeah.
She drove it like once or twice.
Yeah, yeah.
She just doesn't like the way that the seats fit on her hips and things like that.
Right.
The rough suspension.
Yes.
You know, so I was like, in the end, I just chose sport.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to go out like with the two cars and compare.
Yes.
You know, see what the difference is, and we can be the McDonald's twins.
Yeah,
ketchup and mustard.
Yeah. I'm really curious because I've heard from people that the difference is subtle.
Yeah.
And then I've heard other people say, you know, it's noticeable, like bumps on roads, you know, concrete, you know, or what they call expansion cracks and things like that, like significant difference in those types of things. But everybody's different. Everyone's going to judge it differently, I think.
And I've driven both. I'm just not as in tune with all the nuances of things and the feel. I think that a very experienced driver who has that sort of natural feel could probably tell a difference more readily than me.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know that I will notice a huge difference, but you know.
One thing I will say, and I know this really jumped out at me on that test drive. I still remember vividly going across a railroad grade. And the car just being like, it just absorbed that so well. I couldn't believe it. At the time, I had an Acura SUV, which would have like shaken your tooth fillings out going over that because it had kind of a sporty. And so the difference in a sports car suspension versus just a regular car was amazing to me. You would have thought it would have been the absolute opposite. And it was so, it just absorbed it so well, and yet going around a corner, it is flat as a pancake going around a corner. And it's a really, it's fun, you know. It really corners on rails. Learning more about it and just kind of reading about this sort of witchcraft of suspension that Lotus seems to have perfected. It's now, I see what everybody's talking about because it's hard to put into words the way it combines this planted and really agile with actually incredibly civilized, like riding over different surfaces. So I will say, depending on the asphalt surface, the noise is very different. And that's probably just the performance tires and everything. And I do just have the Goodyears, of course, and the Tour suspension. But I noticed that driving back from Charlotte, that some parts of the highway was, you know, moderately noisy inside, and then others it was totally fine. So, and again, it's got this great combination of an awesome sound from the V6 when you're, you know, giving it the beans or whatever. But if you're just cruising on the highway, just very, very relaxed and civilized. This car is way more capable than I am. That's one thing I learned on the Hethel track. This thing is, you know, where my skills end, this thing is just getting started. Lotus knows how to engineer and build a spectacular machine. I was in Hethel a year ago or so. I was actually over there for business. I took the train out and did the sports car experience.
Did you?
Where you get to drive it. So that was kind of crazy because I hadn't driven a stick shift in decades. So my first time was with a right-hand drive car shifting with my left hand on a racetrack. So yeah, it was a little hectic. But it was just mind-blowing. Yeah, because out on the track it was a monster. I mean, because we were all over the place and you know, going on like 120 around the corners and stuff. It was bonkers. And this thing is glued to the road. I mean, I had one little back end, you know, squizzle going around a corner, but it wants to go straight. Even when it slips out a little bit, it just you know, it's easy to pop right back. It doesn't like go crazy. It just is telepathic kind of handling. It's amazing. And you know, you're with an instructor who's basically telling you to go faster and faster.
Because he knows the car can handle it, and he probably can push you to where you may not be comfortable, but he knows the car will keep you safe.
Exactly right. So yeah, it was a blast, absolute blast.
Did they ever let you like take stability control off or any of that stuff?
You know, it's embarrassing, but I don't even know what if we're in track mode or sport mode. I have no idea what we were.
Yeah, you're just too much having fun.
I was too busy trying to figure out how to drive shift with my left hand. And the funny thing was too, right-hand drive, I'm so used to the car being to the right of me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's like, you're getting a little close to the side over here, because I keep thinking the car was over there when it was actually over here. And
right.
So there was some weirdness, but it was. But yeah, just the thing just goes and goes, and,
cool.
And it's so fun.
So I noticed in your spec you didn't get the vehicle tracker.
No, it was one of those things. I actually, again, this may have been misguided, but it seems like it's very much geared toward UK and Europe. Like that sort of system seemed to me to be more associated with that market, and it wasn't clear to me, like, and I had sort of saw different reports about how well it may or may not work in the US.
Really?
So I could be totally wrong, or not, but that was the rationale. I didn't see a point. I've never had a vehicle tracker in a car before, and so that was kind of it. There are certain things that, never done it before, and just didn't see a point now, but it's garaged and everything, but
yeah, that was something I debated myself, and this is the second new car I bought in my life.
Yeah.
Right. The last one was in 1992.
Yeah.
So
yes.
so I haven't had to make decisions like that very often. It's just, what does the used car I'm looking at have, and is that acceptable? And so I did debate it, internally, and I ended up going with it.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see, how that all pans out.
Yeah. I'll be interested to learn, because I just couldn't see really any conclusive evidence one way or the other about it.
And I'm trying to remember, I think it was a subscription thing too.
I think so.
Which I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So now you didn't get a FE1, you got an FE2, and you chose Vivid Red, which is an FE2 color.
Yes.
So how did you feel about Magma Red?
I loved it.
Did you?
So that was my original spec.
Okay.
Basically this exact spec with Magma.
So why did you choose Vivid then?
Because I've always loved real serious red cars. To me, just bright red on a sports car, just can't go wrong.
Okay. So the Magma was a darker color.
It was a darker color. Right. Again, it's gorgeous. I love it. In the sun, it's just spectacular.
Yeah.
I also felt that tone of red has become incredibly common. You see it in almost every manufacturer has that sort of deeper metallic red. Obviously Mazda perfected it, they've got a gorgeous red, right?
That candy apple red is amazing.
It's really spectacular in the sun. But I get, I would have, again, this car would be good in brown. I mean,
I'm not sure I'm with you there, Dan.
But anyhow, I love the Magma Red. I would have been thrilled with that, and love the color still.
Okay.
It would, without question, been the next choice.
I was curious.
This did it totally for me.
Okay. I was curious because I think a lot of people I talk to about the color red in cars point out the Mazda red.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, in terms of cars you see on the street ever.
Yes.
That is just the most gorgeous red I've seen.
Pops.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the Magma Red, I didn't care for.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So in general, I thought all the FE1 colors were too dark. Right? It's like, let's have a dark verdant, green that's almost black.
Yes.
I test drove one with my dad.
Yeah.
And during the whole day, we never thought about it. As we were leaving, we're following it. Someone else was taking out for a test drive. And it occurred to me it was green. Right. I was like, Dad, what color was the car we were driving today? He's like, black. Nope. It was dark verdant green.
I guess again.
Yeah. And when you talk about everybody having a color like that darker metallic red, I kind of feel the same way about Seneca Blue.
Okay.
Right? Yes. I like it. I think it's a great color on the Emira, but I feel like it's a little trendy and current, and I'm not sure how it's going to look in 10 years.
Right. That was, again, these are all minor differences, but when you're kind of making that big choice, for me, red has worked on sports cars since 1950, right?
And I think the Vivid is amazing.
It's spectacular.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
A gorgeous bright red. And I do love the Seneca. I mean, it does look amazing on this car.
Right.
I was actually in Las Vegas for a conference, and I happened to be walking distance to the Lotus dealer there.
Oh,
so again, still hadn't come in. I'll go take a look at what they have. They had the Atlantis Blue.
Oh, okay.
Which is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a spectacular color.
Yeah.
Metallic, and I know there's the Meridian is amazing too. Like it, but it's, again, it's like the deep, almost verdant, dark verdant kind of color. But again, they all have their own character, and everybody loves the colors they love.
Oh yeah.
And the thing just looks amazing when you see a lineup. You know, I was down at Charlotte, right? And you saw the full lineup of all the colors. It's just an amazing sight.
That's awesome. And I hope maybe in a couple months we'll have a meet where we'll have a nice sampling of all the colors.
It really looks good. I'll say too, they had a black one there, Cosmos Black.
Oh right, okay.
Little metallic in the black. It looks amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
You know, honestly, when I saw the dark verdant and some of the other darker, like they have the. Which gray was it? There was the darker gray. There was the lighter gray and the darker gray.
Yes.
And I was like, where's the black?
Right.
You know, black would have looked better, in my opinion, than the dark verdant. I would have loved it in green, but a more noticeable green. Right. Anyhow, okay, good. Enough on colors.
If you can't tell, I'm pretty smitten with it. It's it was a revelation to get behind the wheel of it. Just a fun car. Yeah. Makes people happy, makes me happy, me and my wife happy. I intend to keep it for many, many, many years.
Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to producing this into some sort of finished content that we can share with others.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you.